The Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
I don't want to lose. I want to win.
I need professional help.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Sports Betting Weekly, sponsored by EasySportsData.com. The books use data, shouldn't you too? And this is easy sports data, like the preschoolers use. EasySportsData.com.
I win here and I win there. Now what?
Sports Betting Weekly.
I want to win.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
You should also check out SportsBettingLessons.com. You'll learn some old tricks because sometimes how you bet is more important than who you bet. SportsBettingLessons.com.
Let's just do it. Let's meet this thing head on. And you were in it to win it. Talk about an education.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Wow, winning.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Sit back and enjoy the show.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Welcome to Sports Betting Weekly. Now, what do you think could be better than having a couple guys that know a little bit about sports betting in front of you? I'm telling you right now, it's to have three. However, we come out of the green room and we never know where John's going to be because John lives in Las Vegas. And let me explain something. If you have never been to Las Vegas, I know a lot of you have, but there are some of you that haven't gone to Las Vegas before. You can't even use words to describe what Las Vegas is like during football season. You really can't. Words just don't make it better. They just kind of are wasted. The images, like when you're downtown and you've got that area that they built right over by the Circa, and it's just basically drunk people. It's like a sidewalk that's maybe, 100 to 150 yards wide and fairly long, and it's just drunk people. Wes, you were just there recently.
Yeah, I was. And you're talking about that downtown area where the Circa is. I mean, it is beautifully done. If you want to get away from some of the tourism and just be in a place that's got a old school Vegas feel, but it's been updated. I mean, it is incredible. And John and I, we got an appointment with the Circa, and we're both going to be fighting over a blue jacket here in a couple months.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the bottom line is I've done those contests, and they're not as easy as that $5,000 or $15,000 or whatever money you're spent on it. Because I've done more than one of them. It's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, and you're probably right about not being as easy as it looks. But every year, I record the picks, and this past year on my members page, we followed it every week, and the picks that were posted, and we totaled it up, and these plays stacked up. So I realize there's a different strategy because you're trying to pick the game that nobody else picks. Or pick the win because everybody else is getting. There's probably the high percentage picks on certain games, and so there's got to be some strategy to it. And for me, NFL, I throw 3 games right off the bat. I throw them out the window. Well, if NFC East happens to play each other, I throw 4 out the window. So now we're looking at I'm down to only 11 games to choose from, and I got to pick 6 of them. So it's going to be a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so the one thing I want to mention is that every week they put out the consensus top 5. So almost all the contests do this. They say, here's all the picks, here's the top 5. Their record is horrible. I mean, it's not even close to 50%. Every week, the contests, like the Super Contest, they put out their consensus top 5, which is here's all the picks. These are the 5 teams that are picked more than anybody else, and those teams consistently go 1-4 or 2-3.
Oh yeah, that is correct. Yeah, if they put those top teams where everybody's kind of trending, because that's almost like where the public
right, and that's what we're saying. That's what you're saying, Wes. Is you're trying to find that play that is a little bit different, because otherwise you're just piling on what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so it's good luck, and it's fun. I just hope you have more success than I've had. It was funny because I had winning weekends where my contest results were horrible, and I won money because, again, the way we bet is not technically contest-style wagering. All right, so let's look at some live action. We've had a couple weeks here where we couldn't do any live action. But that is not the case tonight. So we are loaded, locked and loaded, as they say, with our account. And no matter where you are, I told you a little earlier on social media, if you're watching our show and it's first of all, if it's 8:02 in New York City, God bless New York City. We wish all those people a safe and easy transfer from the Ark, because it was just brutal. It's just brutal there. And,
a lot of water.
Yeah, we got family and friends there, so we just keep you in our thoughts and prayers, and please stay safe. Water's a funny thing. Water does whatever water wants to do, man. You can't really stop water. You could hesitate. It's like Shaquille O'Neal in the middle, man. You can hesitate water a little, but you ain't gonna stop water. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm hopping on live betting in college football for the first time this year. Oh my goodness, I need a cigarette. That felt so good. Just saying that felt so good. All right, so what do we got? I got 4 games up. I've got Youngstown State, Ball State, Appalachian State, and North Carolina State. How about a 4-team state parlay? That would work out. I don't know what the scores are, but we're going to check it out. Any of those games jumping out at you? I know I have North Carolina State. I have them, and they're up 10-0 in the first quarter. I'm giving 6. So I'm not touching that game. I have nothing on Appalachian State. It's 6-7. East Carolina is losing 6-7. I don't know if they missed the extra point. I'm just looking at the scoreboard. Ball State and Western Illinois are just getting to the end of the first quarter scoreless. I didn't touch that game. Youngstown State is playing Incarnate Wood. Now, when we have to do the data, guys, for the very first week of the NCAA football, it's confusing to us because you see names you're never going to see on the board again for the entire year. How much money do some of these teams get for going in a regular normal season where there's stands full of people and stuff? It is worth getting their butts kicked. But are any of those games something you're looking to jump on right now? Wes?
Yeah, I actually just, as you were talking, I just jumped on it. App State, it was a 9-point favorite before this game started. And right now they're close, but I like the number that is set up right now. Usually App State in close games, they kick it into high gear in the second half. But I really like the number 20.5 for the first half team total. I don't care whether they're winning or they're losing. I'm jumping on, I already jumped on App State over 20.5. I think they got 2 touchdowns left with them with 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. App State's got 2 more touchdowns before this half is over.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow that lead, but then I'm going to go over to the game as well and hop a little on that 34.5. And the reason is it's not available anymore. So, and that is live betting. But I got the first half in. The game is not available. I had a situation recently. You guys know, I told you, John, I went to that Yankee game with Tommy. Tommy and I drove up. Tommy was kind enough to be our guest on Wake and Bake Saturday morning on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and the Sports Betting Channel. This week it's going to be Chris from the MD Show with Chris and Dan. So we're excited about that. But I had a play where I bet a game over, and it was that game the next day, and they scored. Like I want to say, if I had hesitated, I probably would have got shut out because they scored that quickly. And that's the thing about live action. When you put a bet in, okay, it's back available now. It changed, went from 134 to no, it's 34.5. It went down to 126. I don't know what you got it at, or you just did the first half.
I just did it for the first half because I think we're going to see it real quick. I mean, they've already come close to a first down with a big play on first. So
yeah, and they've shut me out for the game. So I'm in for the first half. I don't really want to get that 34.5 for the game. So I'm going to pay attention while I talk. But when you do that, when you do a live play, and then like the next thing, there's a punt return or a long pass or a pick, an interception, and anything that's in your favor, it's the coolest thing ever. Especially like if you hop on, 34.5, say, and the next thing you know, it's 39.5 in about a minute or 2 plays. It's really the cool aspect, I think, of live action. John, are you going to be doing any live action tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to be taking a look. There was a couple games just because if you looked at the board, there was a lot of big number spreads. And normally I tend to shy away from those, especially for me personally, college football, especially for me the first week in college football. So I'm going to look at opportunities. I was looking at that App State, same thing. They were 9. I'm not sure what they're getting in state. I actually jumped on NC State for the game at 19 total. I just think that NC State is obviously the running game that they have. And, you know, playing the team that they were playing, their defense was horrible. They gave up 40 points, averaging almost in all their games last year. And they have a quarterback. He only has limited amount of snaps. So I actually felt pretty confident in laying that number with NC State at home this year. So we'll see how that goes. Off to a good start on that one. But, yeah, I'll be checking in-game pretty much all throughout the rest of the games here later.
Yeah, so let's look at that. Let's look at the board for the plays that we could talk about that are Friday or Thursday plays, because it's Thursday. Again, if it's 8:08 in New York or 5:08 in San Diego, you're talking live, and these plays are going to help you. If you catch us tomorrow morning on the podcast or you catch us tomorrow morning on a replay, maybe not so much, but I guarantee you one thing, you're going to cash some tickets tonight. It's just a matter of which ones we're cashing. So what do we got here? We got four. These are all 4 o'clock and 4:30 games. And then 5 o'clock, there's some more games. That's the Tennessee game. So that's just starting now. Ohio State's just starting now. And then we got that Arizona game. UNLV's playing later. Johnny D was going to go to that game. I'm not sure if he's going. But
the tickets were cheap for that game. You could actually go to a UNLV game for about $25 tonight if anybody wanted to go. So
yeah, I've gone to games there. It's cool in the state.
Yeah, you go to the new stadium, and it's at Allegiant, so you get to go to the new stadium.
Although they're not playing.
No, they're not playing at Sam Boyd anymore. They're playing all their games at Allegiant, so you get to go to a new stadium for $25, even though parking might probably cost you more than the game ticket will. But
when my kids were young, and I was still in state, so I got a student ticket, and we would go up. And you know what? That's a big NFL stadium. There's no way UNLV's. They got to go undefeated to fill that stadium. You know.
Correct.
So your kids, now unless they block the top, your kids could run up to the top. And we would just let them run themselves ragged as long as nobody gets hurt. I have 2 boys, so nobody's really going to get hurt, split their head open or anything. And by the end of the night, boy, they slept good on Saturday nights. There's no doubt. So the Aztecs have been a very, very good program football-wise for a long, long time now. You know, they're not Alabama, but they're a double-digit win team. And if you put their basketball and their football teams together, they're in the top 5. 4 over the last 10 years for the number of wins combined between your football and your basketball program. And the names on the list besides them are teams that aren't Mountain West teams. That's for darn sure. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I'm live all night. I mean, I got 5 plays I made tonight. I got them on the ground somewhere. I had the NC State, right? I got Tennessee. I got Ohio State. Unlike John, I have no problem hopping on a big favorite. What I do, though, is I look at the Easy Sports Data Report, and I go back and I look at the first game, usually away for these teams that are traveling to Ohio State or traveling to Tennessee or traveling to those big schools. And I look what happened. So I'm looking at like the last 3 years. I'm looking at these teams on their first game. Did they dominate? And the other teams on their first game, did they get whacked? If I'm seeing 59-0, 62-3, I got no problem laying 27, 34, whatever the case may be. But it's on a case-by-case basis. So, yeah, we got to take a break. I guess that's a perfect time. We'll take a break now. And then what I could do is I could find the sheet that I think blew off because of the fan. Because remember, it's like 79 here. Is it warm in Vegas today too, John?
Yeah, it's still 100 degrees out here.
Yeah,
we're still scorching hot out here. Yeah.
I'm at the beach and it's warm at the beach.
That sounds nice. I need a trip to San Diego. Yeah.
So I told you guys I need help. Petey's not helping me today. So let's put first of all, we're going to put the banners up.
There we go.
Our last winners, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go to break. You're listening to Sports Betting Weekly. We're on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We're on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. We're on the Sports Betting Channel. And when we come back, we're going to catch some more tickets.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Sports Betting Weekly.
You keep lying when you ought to be truthing. And you keep losing when you ought to not bet.
Sit back and enjoy the show.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Welcome back to Sports Betting Weekly. I'm second half Chaz. Most weeks I'm joined by Black Hawk West from 151 Sports Investing, and John from GF Sports Consultant joins us as well. But let's talk about John John has been battling this year, maintaining top 3 actually, recognition on some websites for Major League Baseball. And I'm wondering if, as baseball winds down here, will he continue to focus on baseball? Will he call it a year and move on? Because there's a lot of crazy things with baseball. They open up the rosters. There's teams that are out of it. There's teams that are playing with injured guys. What do you talk to us, John, about baseball?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, the MLB betting has severely dwindled to very, very minimal games and very, very small, if not half units, to be quite honest with you, just because all of those factors that you just named above. You obviously the top tier teams are in position, so they might have something to play for. But there's very few teams maybe might have wild card implications, maybe are jockeying for seeding. That you might want to focus in. But yeah, the bottom tier of those games, the bottom tier of the teams, it's very tough because, as you can tell, these bullpens are hard to gauge. They're bringing guys up from the minors. If they're sitting, if they're resting players, it's a very tricky time. So now I kind of changed my focus. I'm going to pretty much tap out in MLB. Thank you. I made my money for the season, and now I'm going to focus to football, college, NFL, and then before you know it, we're going to have basketball. We're going to have hockey coming. So we're going to have a whole slew of stuff coming. But yeah, I'm pretty much kind of bowing out.
You're an optimistic son of a gun today. God bless you, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so let me ask you: when baseball playoffs roll around, will you get back involved, or will you watch?
I will get back involved, and I will do very spottingly for MLB playoffs. MLB playoffs, I love actually doing in-game to see where there's advantages. And then also kind of depending on where the series is going, let's say the Yankees and they lose the first game or the second game and they're down 0-2 and, let's say they're coming back home. I'll try to find some opportunities where I can get some good odds and advantages for the playoffs and stuff like that. But yeah, it'll be really limited, but I'll jump back in there depending on, whatever the series matchups are and the odds going into that.
Yeah. Now, Wes, I know you've bet series in a lot of sports. Will you bet any MLB playoff series futures?
The MLB, for me, at least during football season, because we got CFL this year, but you remember last year it was a random Wednesday night when we were over, and they just kept scoring runs. So I'll tune into an MLB just like that. The reality is, if John is on an MLB game, I'm going to go there because this man knows MLB better than I know anything in life. So, that's about the extent of my MLB plays. Football.
I agree with that statement. But let's get caught up on your live play because we got a touchdown, right?
Yeah, App State scored. They scored while we were on break, and I'm thinking probably in the next 12 minutes we're going to see them cash and cover for us.
Yeah, so I'm going back in because they were very, very rude to me earlier. You'll remember earlier in the show when I went to make a play on a team that only had 7 points, they wouldn't allow me to make that play. Now that team has 14 points. So let's see here where we are. Now it's not even on the board.
There is just like kind of sports bettors and everybody, you guys also have to know that certain books, they have traders that are monitoring all these live games. So if they know they don't have an advantage, if they know they can't accurately kind of price these inline games, they're going to block that out. So this might be also kind of getting back into shape sort of for the traders because
they
were in the lullaby for this. There's a lot, they call them war rooms. I know there's a certain books, I don't want to put them or necessarily blow my insider information in there, but I know there's a lot of them that are kind of say, hey, let's, this first week is crazy. They're going to limit their games, especially for today. They're more focused on Saturday. So a lot of that in-game might be limited even on Saturday. You might see it a little bit limited until they kind of get their feet, so to speak, underneath them.
Well, and that's the house advantage. I mean, if we don't think we can win a game,
that's exactly what it is.
Put it on the board. It's that simple. All right, so let's see. We got 7-0 in Tennessee. That's an early score. That's good for me. North Carolina's up. State is 17-0 now. Looking good there. They're giving 10.5 though, so I do not have a touchdown to give. As you know, having 8.5 points to give in life It's one of the greatest things you could ever have. I don't want much out of life. I want my kids to be happy, and I want to have an 8.5 point lead. So that game is gone, but we got there it is again. It's back. It's got zeros on it, though. It's got zeros still, so they will not let me play it. I'm going to back away, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what's next on the list. Oh, I did find my sheet. I dropped it again, but I found my sheet. So here's what I have. I have UCF. This is just today's games. UCF, Coastal Carolina. Now, UCF and Boise State. I didn't make that a big play, but I have them. And the reason is Boise State's good. Yeah. And they travel well. And that game is delayed by lightning, as is another game delayed by weather, I assume, and that is the Utah game. Utah and Weber State. Is it Weber State? Weber State? I don't know. But they're delayed too. And you get a lot of that. This is hurricane season. You get a lot of games canceled, a lot of games delayed. I have NC State, Tennessee, and Ohio State. So right now, I'd rather have the teams I got than the other teams. I didn't touch Buffalo, mostly because I didn't know if Buffalo was going to come back. That one running back was really good, but I know from being a San Diego State fan that when a system creates running back guys, you every single year you could pump in a new guy and he ends up doing the same thing: 23 touchdowns, 2,800 yards or 1,500 yards, whatever good yardage now is for a running back. All right, what about let's talk about you know what we do have. If you want to win some Canadian football bets, you got to check out Saturdays in Canada. And this weekend, it's actually weekends in Canada because there's 3 games we talked about. But let's talk about tomorrow's game, Wes. Wes is streaming. You know what? We do wake and bake.
Yeah.
We do wake and bake. That stream works with wake and bake.
The Wi-Fi is on wake and bake, maybe.
I'm gonna see if he comes back. If not, we're gonna let him go. We're gonna let him go. We'll come back soon. See if he comes back. If not, we're gonna keep going.
It looked like he was excited. He was excited about his score. He might have hit a wrong button by mistake there. I'm assuming something good happened, but yeah.
A kick from studio. So he's back, but we'll figure it out. All right, so let's talk about Saturday because those are all my games for Friday. I've handicapped the entire weekend, so I handicapped.
Oh, nice!
Like 166 teams.
Jesus,
166 teams. There are 80 something games this week. I handicapped 166 teams. I probably narrowed it down.
I'm back.
Oh yeah, we saw that. I probably narrowed it down to maybe 15 plays, but I'll do my open parlays and I'll string them along. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to get back to Canadian football because we have Montreal at Ottawa, and this is a Friday night kickoff. This is Friday, and it is 7:30. So this game is competing with some college football for sure.
Yeah, it is, and it's Montreal against Ottawa. This past week I was on Ottawa, and man, was I wrong. I took the 5.5 points because I thought that coming off a bye, they would be able to do something. Ottawa really is struggling from an offensive standpoint. So this game's a walk away because I don't know that it's a 7.5 point game. It's a walk away. If I were to do anything, I would be on the other side that Ottawa is going to get beat by 7.5. They're just struggling to score points. They look completely inept on defense. They're just really a disappointment to watch. And they've usually been at least competitive, but I don't know that this game is a safe place to put money. If you did, I would put on the Owls. But again, the Owls they're allowing points too. So this one's a walk away for me, but you're probably safer on the favorite.
Yeah, and when I'm looking at the Easy Sports data sheet for this game, it does show that Ottawa's, every game they give up more points than the game before, so that is that's not something I'm really a big fan of betting. I also don't like seeing teams score less. And in the second half when games are won, every game they score less than the games before. But I do have some good news from the live action front. I was able to hop on Appalachian State finally at 37.5. So it went up 3 points. But you know what? I did the situation that we talk about all the time where I made sure the wager for the game was less than what I win. in the first half. So I'm sitting on 20.5, right, for the first half. And I'm going to watch that 37.5. And if it gets up to where the Appalachian State total that they're offering is 39.5 or 41.5, I'm going to be very, very happy with the 37.5 and not be mad that they stole 3 points right out of my pocket, because that's basically what they did. All right, let's talk to John from GMF Sports. We're going to get an update on what he's looking at for Saturday, because Saturday is, oh my God, I love college football. You guys know that. We talk every year, but I can't believe it's finally here, because it really helps with all the stuff that's happening in the world with New York and Afghanistan. Having college football is really like taking a Valium. It's like, probably for me, it's like 15 milligrams. It's like 15 milligrams of Valium. So either a blue one and a yellow one, or 3 yellow ones, or a blue one and a blue one cut in half in case you need a kicker for later, whatever you got to do. Well, a lot of people don't realize in jeans, there's that little pocket that's right above, that's right by the real pocket. And that pocket is where you put Valium. And really, when the world is kicking your ass, Valium makes it easy. Valium's like a hook. Valium's like buying the hook in life. It's really what it is, you know? So let's talk, John. What do you got Saturday?
Saturday, I have not really eyed on anything. There's so many games on the board, and to be quite honest with you, with everything going on Thursday, Friday, the way college football is kind of doing with the whole COVID list, I probably won't really start narrowing games until about tomorrow afternoon to tomorrow night, and then kind of narrow them down to maybe 3 or 4 games. I keep my college football schedule right now really limited. As I said before, in previous years, I kind of struggled a little bit before, so I'm probably going to maybe have to lean on Wes a little bit. Hopefully he'll throw us, a couple of games to bet on, so that way I can follow Wes here for the weekend, because he seems to have a really great grip on college. And that's going to be pretty much it. I'm going to do a lot of spectating. I'm going to spectate, gain some information, and always in-game. You can't go wrong with in-game. Maybe throw a couple of half units in and take it from there. But, that'll be my game plan for this week.
All right, so your Buckeyes scored.
Well, that's what threw me offline, is I was busy clapping for it.
I said we seen you celebrate, so you probably were throwing stuff.
Yeah. He said that. He said he saw you were happy. Coastal Carolina is up 31-0 at halftime. I could not get a halftime play, but I'm on the game for them.
Well, it's no secret I'm a Buckeye fan. I'm wearing number 14, C.J. Stroud. I bought his jersey when he was a backup before he changed numbers into number 7. So this game is great for me.
All right, let's talk about Saturday, because John mentioned it. So Kentucky is the first game Saturday, and that is 9 o'clock our time, hence why we have a wake and bake segment. Then there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more games. A couple that start at 11 o'clock, like 3 of them. But then you got 12:30 games, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. You got 1 o'clock games. There's another 6 of those. You got a 1:30 game. You got a 5 o'clock game. Now I'm talking East Coast time. You got a 6 o'clock game or 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A whole sheet on covers. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 games that start at 4:30 Eastern. Come on. If you don't believe in God, and there's 14 college football games kicking off at 4:30 Pacific time, then you gotta find religion. Golly gee, what's wrong with you people? All right, and then and that's it. I mean, think about it. I don't even know. I stopped. There's still night games. But there was one game I wanted to talk about, and that was tonight's game from Arizona State and Southern Utah. It goes off at 7:30 my time, 10:30 New York time. Guys, we just saw Southern Utah play. They just played. They played and got shut out, right, by San Jose State, I think.
San Jose State. Yep.
They played this weekend, but they don't play today. How is this? How fair is that to these kids to do that to them? They're taking them. San Jose State is not a bad program. I mean, they're not a bad program. They play pretty good football. They're not winning the SEC East anytime soon, but they're a pretty good program. And it was 4 days ago. And now they're going to Arizona State. They're getting 45 points. You know what? I'm laying the 45. And I'm going to do it as soon as I get off the air here. So that's my play of the night. Is that a lot of points? Yeah, it's a lot of points. But if they just got beat by San Jose State, 31-0, I think, and either one of you can confirm that score. It was something like that. How are they going to play? First of all, how do you even get over injuries, figure out who's hurt, get them back to healthy, and have a game plan for a team 4 days later? I don't think it's right. I'm not going to complain to the NCAA. I'm going to take it up with my sports book. That's how I'm going to handle that. All right, so that was my play. What about you Saturday, Wes? What's jumping out at you?
So I got a lot of plays. I got 9 games that I'm gonna post on my members page. But the 2 plays that I'll throw out here is one dog and one favorite. There's not a lot of places that I'm comfortable laying points, but there's one particular coach that I am very comfortable laying a lot of points on for week 1, and that's Jimbo Fisher. I'm laying 28.5, and I'm taking Texas A&M. Texas A&M. They are starting to look like an SEC team. COVID in last year's season, it really didn't do them justice. But if you look at Jimbo Fisher and you look at the last 5 to 7 years and what he's done as a head coach on opening night, including Jameis Winston's first night, I think Jameis Winston's first game was they won by 7 in an underdog situation against Oklahoma State. But Jimbo Fisher is a bully on opening games. I think that A&M is going to win by a minimum of 30. I think 28.5 is a gift. They have a quarterback that is Jimbo's quarterback. Don't sweat the fact that Kellen Mond is gone. They have possibly the best running back in the nation in Spiller. A&M 28.5. Take it. It'll be the most stress-free game that you've ever put money on.
He just got
the other one that I'm looking at.
Wes?
He's up there now. He $9 million a season, I think, is what the average is. So
you
he's
better cover 20 million. You get $9 million a year. You better cover 28.5.
But here's the thing: is if he wins by 7 or even 28 and doesn't cover the hook, he's a hero. He earned that paycheck. So the other one that I'm looking at on Saturday is I'm looking at Maryland. Maryland's getting 3 points. This is baby Tua on his second season. I don't know that Maryland wins the game outright, but I think that they might. And I like the returning O-line that they have. I like the coaching. Maryland is typically the doormat of the Big Ten, but they always play teams tough. They really always do. And you know what? There's one more that I'm going to throw out there. I'm going to throw out UCLA. They're a 3-point dog. They're finally playing Chip Kelly ball. I talked about them last week. They came out and covered for us. They already cashed. Their running back is incredible. DTR at quarterback now in his senior year or super senior year. They're looking like they're playing Chip Kelly ball. UCLA has a real shot at winning the Pac-12 this year. +3. I don't care that they're playing LSU and an SEC team. This LSU team is not what it was when it won a championship last year. +3. UCLA's winning this game.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on LSU is not something that's going to scare you right now. There's no doubt about it. Right? So when we get back from break, probably going to change the banner. Should have done that. So let's do that right now. And let's see here. Does that one work? That might have been the same one. Maybe not. So, yeah, there's the Instagram one. Check out John on Instagram. Okay, so what we're going to do is when we come back from break, we're going to have a final wrap-up. We're going to look at our live action. We probably could do could you get us an Appalachian State score before we go or tell us where they are on the field, Wes?
It's still 14-6. App State's got
right, so
they're in the red zone. So we're about to cash.
All right, when we come back, hopefully we cash because it's what we do. You're listening to Sports Betting Weekly on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the Sports Betting Channel.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
At championshipfootballs.com, they offer a 100% money-back guarantee on every single souvenir football that they sell. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. There's nothing worse than trying to find the right gift for somebody that already has everything. Whether that special present is for a New England Patriots fan or an Ohio State Buckeyes backer. Maybe Grams is a lifelong New York Giants supporter. Or your brother-in-law is a 12th man living in Seattle. Know a member of the Michigan State Alumni Association? Is there a better Father's Day gift for someone who's a Baltimore Ravens fan? Send them the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, if your favorite pro team is the Buffalo Bills or those Minnesota Vikings, well, they're sorry about that. Also, if you're a New Mexico State Aggies or Tulane Green Wave alumnus, not much they can do. After all, the name isn't nice effort, you had a pretty good season, footballs.com. The name is championshipfootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed.
Hey, this is an important message. I'm Second Half Chaz from Sports Betting Weekly. Sports betting is supposed to be a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. If you're hurting yourself by gambling with money you don't have, check out our website for the Gamblers Anonymous phone number.
When Vince Young scored on 4th and 5 in the 2006 Rose Bowl, two things happened. The Texas Longhorns won the NCAA title, and ChampionshipFootballs.com was born. From Texas to Alabama to Ohio State, and now for Super Bowl winners too. ChampionshipFootballs.com is the place for the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, 10 years later, ChampionshipFootballs.com has the autographs too. See if any of these names remind you of a special time in your football life. Michael Bennett, Lou Holtz, Joe Montana, Devin Smith, Jameis Winston, Rocky Blyer, Rocket Ishmael, Ara Parsegian, Mike Stonebreaker, Chris Zorich, Luther Bradley, Todd Light, Tony Rice, Lawrence Taylor, Dave Casper, Marcus Mariota, Rudy Rudiger, David Tyree. Enter the promo code RADIO and you'll instantly save $50 on any of the ChampionshipFootballs.com autographed footballs. ChampionshipFootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Sit back and enjoy the show.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Welcome back to Sports Betting Weekly, where Appalachian State, it looks like they kicked a field goal, Wes. So we got 10 minutes to go, and we need a touchdown. Either way, we're going to need a touchdown. However, I have seen Appalachian State score a lot of points in 10 minutes, so I'm feeling pretty good there. Coastal Carolina's up 31-0. The Boise State game and UCF is still in a delay. Wagner is getting their butts handed to him by Buffalo. Think about it. You're given 43 and you almost covered in the first half. That's kind of crazy. Utah is getting upset in that delayed game. NC State's up 17-0, which is they're covering, but they're not covering by a full touchdown. And I don't have any money on the Tulsa UC Davis game. However, if I did, I might ask you to talk to me about maybe having a gambling problem. I really might. I don't know. It doesn't seem like UC Davis Tulsa would be a game I would ever put money on. All right, so let's talk about this weekend. First of all, we know that we've gone over the games. There's the bazillion games on Saturday. We talked about some things for Friday. We know that John from GMF Sports Consultants going in light. We know that Wes he dove in Wednesday of last week, I think. He's in, man. He's in. He's got Canadian football game tomorrow. He's got another one on Sunday. No, yeah, Saturday's got one, right? There's one Friday, one Saturday, two Sunday. Talk to me, Wes. Explain again how that's scheduled.
So CFL, we got a game tomorrow, which is a walk away, and then we're in it on Sunday, and then we got two on Monday, doubleheader on Monday. So we're in all three CFL games.
I'm really excited about that. And then, of course, I'm on. I got a 5-teamer rocking tonight, and I always do. Let me tell you. Here's what I tell people: if you say to me you should never bet parlays, first of all, you've uttered the word "never," which shows that you're ignorant, because there's never ever a situation where you can say never. That's the only time you can never say never, is to say you should never say never. The bottom line is it's possible, it's probable. If I have, and I'll give you an example. Saturday, when Wake and Bake is the last segment on the show. So we have 4 segments, and we have 4 different guests, and they all give out their own plays. And guess what? I had a $5 11-teamer. It would have paid $1,173 if they were right, and that's insurance to me. I always use this parlays. So it looks like Wes is clapping, but he could fill us in a minute. I always use parlays as insurance, but in case something goes good, not in case something goes wrong, in case something goes good. And that's what I'm looking at. So what do we got? Wes, you were clapping.
I'm clapping because there was some laundry on the field in the App State game, which that helps us get closer to the cover, kill some clock. But I'm clapping for the Ohio State because I gave out the over of 20.5 for the first half on the Chicago Options Trader page. So and we're trending in the right direction here.
Yeah, they just for their points though, right?
Yeah, just for their points.
Yeah. All right, so I do have, because they did not offer a Coastal Carolina first half line, I have also a 4-teamer, which is going to have UCF, who's still delayed, NC State, they're up 10-0.
17-0, they're up and they're driving.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. They're up 17-0, but they're giving 10 times. Right,
yeah.
Touchdown. I have Ohio State. I don't even know what they're giving. What are they giving for the game?
Ohio State was 14, right? Were they 14, right?
14, 13.5, depending on where you look. And there's just a flag on the play. So we're going to – Ohio State's about to be real close. I don't know if any of you knew, but I bleed Ohio State. Oh, wait.
We've heard that rumor. And then Tennessee's up 14-0. So okay. Right now, as Tommy would say, stop the race.
That's it. Yeah, call it.
He's been yelling that for years. They never actually do it. But all right, so let's do this. Let's go back to the banners because I really am. I'm a terrible producer. I'm pretty knowledgeable sports bettor. I really am. So you can bet on the same action as the guys. Your intro special, the weekend for $15. We're going to have a deal, too, with the Easy Sports Data through Belly Up Fantasy starting for week 1, which is not this weekend, but next weekend. So let's talk about John. John, you've got a lot of deals that you do for people. So let's assume that a couple people are watching this show for the first time. Why should they give you money? I know, and Wes knows, but you tell them.
So not only obviously are you going to get, premium picks for all sports that we're going to go around here, MLB, as we're kind of teetering down to the end, you're going to get college football, you're going to get NFL. But I think the amount of money that you spend with me, because I'm relatively cheap compared to these other Instagram cappers, is that you're going to gain knowledge. I'm not afraid to tell you guys about certain things, how to manage your bankroll, how to be patient. And to me, that's the two biggest things, I think, in trying to be successful in sports betting. It's managing your bankroll and being patient and being disciplined. If you can master those two, then we could fit everything else into play. Like I said, just what you're going to learn overall is going to be worth whatever amount of money that you spend with me, which is relatively cheap. I normally only charge $199 for the month. That's $200. If you break that down, it's $50 a week. If you can't spend $50 a week to gain some knowledge, honestly, you probably shouldn't be gambling.
Oh, no.
In my opinion. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
If you're betting $50 a game, it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. Yeah. Exactly.
If you're walking into a sports book, picking a 3-teamer for $10 on the way to work, and you do that, that's fine. That's a great way to do it. Have fun. That's not the person you're talking to. Exactly.
Yeah, no, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know a ton of people who play $5 and $10 parlays. Believe me, if I can go back in time, which I used to be that player too. I almost kind of want to be that player again, because it's like, I don't care what happens. You're in for the fun of it. Either way it happens, you like to enjoy it. But yeah, it's more for the people who want to kind of take this a little bit more seriously. The people who want to learn, because if you're new to betting, all these states are legalizing sports gambling almost by the day now. So we got a lot more. So if you want to learn more, if you're new to betting, and if you want to kind of take this a little bit more seriously, second hobby, a second income, jump on board. You can talk to me personally. You can get on the hashtag tickets there. You can get on board with me and Wes. And if you want to just do $15 for the weekend, you can get all of our plays, honestly, which is an even better deal. If you want to just be the weekend warrior.
It really is. And the bottom line is you have to ask yourself, do I win consistently? Do you cash tickets a lot? And if you do, you know what? Maybe you'll get to the next level. If not, the worst case scenario is you could say you tried it. I have failed so often in my life, And I'm not proud of the failures, but the bottom line is you don't really learn when things go right. Sometimes you're just lucky. And that's the best part about following somebody like John or Blackhawk Wes is that they're going to help make you smarter because, it's not classes, but really, Wes, that audio file that you make every week for the website is pretty much classes.
Well, that's the thing is the my members page. It's an investing group. It's Chicago Options Trader, and it's a Discord page. And these are people that are really smart investing minds looking at the stock market. And there's guys on crypto. So, John spoke to it and him and I we're totally in line with it's bankroll management. If you get a 6% gain this year on your 401k, you're winning. So I preach the bankroll management and the way that you cash out, the way that you lay your action. It's more important than the actual picks. And, I put out those videos and we record every week. I'd rather be known as the guy that taught you how to make your winners pay than the guy that's good at picking winners. Because over the long run, if I win 10% this week, oh my God, that is an incredible week. So, that's the reality of it. So there's the bankroll management piece. You're going to get winning picks. I'll tell you, last night just turned on the UAB game, and you guys were a part of it. You guys were along for the ride. I looked up, I saw the score. There was a couple minutes to go in the first quarter. I crunched some numbers real quick. I have programs and data that I use on my own algos, and I'm like, this is happening. And we turned around and we went 4-0 on one game. The first two of them took 12 minutes to cash. And I posted that on the members page, and there were a handful of people that happened to be looking at it, and they caught the ride with us. And, then at the very end of the game, I said, hey, go into this for 0.1 unit. And, it was I'm sorry, I have a greyhound that's trying to talk to me. But at the very end of the game, there was a value play for 0.1 unit, would have paid plus 320. But we ended up going in for about 3 units. Everybody went full, and that's what you get when you follow me or when you sign up on my side.
Yeah, and really those Thursday games, those Friday games, those Saturday games, you don't necessarily bet them just because they're on TV. We talk about that all the time. What you're doing is you're looking at that opportunity, and those little units don't seem like much, but those are the units that are going to get you the bankroll for the weekend. Because and there is nothing worse, Wes, than when you've got a situation where you've got all your money invested and not there for a live play. You know what you could do? You could pet her like under the chin or something to get her to stop barking. You could do that. It's not wrong with giving your dog some love under the table. I have actually normally right down, I don't know, right down there, one of those ways. My dog is sleeping on the floor normally during my show. She's just a good girl. She sleeps. But yeah, so that's the bottom line is you're able to, then all of a sudden you pick up a few units here, a few units there, and then it really makes Saturday when that wave of games comes, because you could have, it's possible to like 6 games out of 14 at noon or at 3 o'clock. It's possible.
Well, Chaz, you just said it. We went 4-0 yesterday. So I have another 7 plays that I'm getting ready to post when we.
Yeah, you froze up on us there, but that's okay. Maybe the dog sat on his moat. All right, so
the dog told him enough.
Yeah, it happens. We're gonna, but you know what? Here's the thing. You know what? You have as many winners as he has, and then sooner or later, you could upgrade your system.
Well, that's the thing that Wes was saying is that you kind of just keep building onto it, and I think that's the difference in your average, sports bettor compared to when you look at it as the investing side, and that's why his name is 151 Sports Investing. He's going to give you the advice that you need and go at it at a systematic approach, and really that's all you can ask for. Really is be an advantage where you have the edge over the house, because that's what we're looking for day in and day out. Wes does it better than anybody I've worked with ever before. So yeah, you got to follow that. And when you're throwing these, like you said, these little quarter units, half units, they all add up quick.
Yeah, and again, you're absolutely right in terms of the way Wes looks at it from an investment standpoint is a smart way to do it, because if you do it wrong, you lose this. You lose.
Yep.
Okay, so I just hold on. He's back. All right, you got an update on the Appalachian State game? Boy,
he's
I don't know. You know what? I'm assuming because he sent me a text. I'm assuming something happened, but I'm not getting any word from him.
No voice. Yeah.
I'm not hearing.
We can't hear you.
But we'll see. So
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
All right.
So
I'll take the advice on that.
Hold on one second. No. This is exactly why To Be Determined is pre-recorded in front of because you can't control the internet,
No.
Well, I probably should upgrade the internet, but full disclosure, I have what's going on with the three of us, and I have 4 screens going with action. So I'm chewing up the bandwidth, but
you're chewing up all the bandwidth.
Yeah, but App State just scored. They got 24 on the board, so that one cashed for us. And I don't know what I was saying when I got cut off.
I have the game on here on one of my monitors. It's not. I didn't record it, but they're just now in the red zone. So you must be getting a different feed than I'm getting.
Oh no,
I'm on the ESPNU, and they're on the 20. And he's about to throw back across the end zone, wide open, touchdown.
Yeah,
that's what it was. You were a couple plays better, so that's a winner. That's good for me. Because I need 2 more touchdowns and I'll cash that game action. All right, so
NC State's about to score too, so they're about to make it 24-0 before the end of the half too. So that game is looking like a blowout.
That'll work. So all of a sudden now, this UCF game is going to be where I say, you know what, cancel the game and I'll hit my fork.
Just stop it. Yeah, call it a game, right?
Right, so the loudmouths are after us, and that's always an interesting conversation because they have great guests, and their name is what their name. They're New York guys, so hopefully they're all safe. So I know they're on Long Island, and Long Island was in front of that last one. I'm not sure. I didn't look at the map to see if they got hit with this new one, but what I saw from New York City, which is heart-wrenching to say the least, and we keep them on our thoughts and our prayers. So what I would say is, what am I most excited about for this week? And besides the fact that I'm doing live action on college football, and I'm very excited about that, I'm seeing that the Buckeyes have just stalled in the red zone. Did they kick a field goal? Are you ahead of me on that game as well, Wes?
Well, they did. I'm insulted because 10-0 is hardly a stall, but you're right. It's 10-0.
No, I said their drive stalled inside the red zone is what I said. I think that, John, would that not be a perfect way to say if you're 17, you're
Wes took that as a personal dig right there.
I know.
Everything's got to go touchdown. Come on.
What's up with that? All right. So what I was saying, I'm excited about, I got some soccer plays from Paulo this weekend, and that's to be determined. 8:00 in the morning on the West Coast, and that's why we end with Wake and Bake. 11:00 on the East Coast. We're going to have some soccer plays. Mo's going to join us, and he's going to go over some college games. Blackhawk West is going to cover the weekends in Canada this week. And then, of course, we're hoping to have Chris from the DCs, Chris from the MD Fantasy Show on Belly Up Sports Fantasy join us for the Wake and Bake. And what I do with the Wake and Bake segment, it's quite plain. I say to you, I know you're a sports bettor. Are you a cannabis fan? That's my text. And they tell me right away, no or yes. And if they're yes, then we can talk. But we're having a lot of fun contacting cannabis companies. Eventually, we're going to have some cannabis companies involved because the bottom line is I've walked, and we talked about it, John, last time. I walked out the back door, 50 or 60 casinos in my day. And sports betting and marijuana have known each other for a long, long time. Blackhawk West, tell us more about the Discord page. I'll get a banner for that. Let me write that down. I'm going to write down Get a banner for Wes's page.
Yeah, and I got a link that we'll get up, but it's Chicago Options Trader. Awesome group. You get involved in Monday through Friday. There's a lot of smart minds giving winning plays, huge winners in the stock market. There's really not a thing that goes on that's not tied into the stock market. But the sports betting page is on there. We're doing almost daily posts at this point. And then you can find me at 151 Sports. It is 151 Sports Investing on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
So what did they take the touchdown off the board?
It looks like they did. There's a field goal. We're 20-6 with 2:29 to go. So I'm
Lummer.
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom.
You know what? I've never liked referees. I never have. All right, listen, I am second half Chaz. As always, thanks for watching Sports Betting Weekly. You can catch us on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You could catch us on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. Of course, the Sports Betting channel is our home. And from Blackhawk West at 151 Sports Investing and John from GMF Sports Consultants, always be cashing.